Okay, so welcome everyone. Today's class is on how to read the chakra system. And I am going to be referring to the Biopulsar technology because it has been ultimately my best teacher when in regards to teaching me about the chakra system. And I'll be sharing with you a lot from a scientific perspective, years or decades of my research. I'm going to be talking about features about the system that I use. I'm going to talk about the language of color, the connection to the 7 main chakras, how to actually do research with the chakras, how to monitor a client's progress, and at the beginning I'm going to be talking a little bit more about how we can bridge the gap between alternative and conventional medicine. Because I work with different types of practitioners, then of course it's very important that I don't come off woo-woo. So I'm always talking about things in a scientific level. So, feel free to use my verbiage because that's really important to me when it comes to teaching people about the chakras, because it's all in the terminology when we're talking to someone. Because sometimes people, they don't want to hear the word chakra, but if you talk about neural plexus centers or your endocrine system, people tend to, who are a bit more scientific based, like that correlation. Okay, next slide. So we're going to talk just briefly about the science of the chakra system. Now, the chakras are highly woven substance material, invisible. They're literally invisible energy transformers that settle on the different levels of our aura. Now, what that means is each chakra spins at its own frequency, drawing in information as well as emitting information. And it's this information that we see when we're analyzing the chakra. And of course, as I start talking a little bit more, I'm going to talk more on an advanced level as to the interaction of the chakras with the physical body, our thoughts, etc. Now, the chakras coordinate the interaction of the energy which is produced from the consciousness. As well, there is unconscious or hidden information in the chakras that we can pull from when we see a chakra overactive or underactive. And I'm going to be talking about that. I've got some examples to show you. And the chakra system is a complex and complicated management of vibrations. Literally, we can refer to our chakras as power stations, hubs that control a lot of our other dynamics within our body. And again, we're going to talk about what consists of a chakra shortly. And because they're transformers that process from that etheric level, and when I refer to etheric, it means, not just from our physical body, but outwards from our physical body into space. And the energies that come in then transform them through the chakras to the lower astral levels. And when you get into the layers of the chakra, there's the physical layer, the emotional layer, the mental layer, the etheric, the astral. There's all these different dimensions that surround our physical body. And so literally the the chakras emanate in each auric layer. And so therefore, depending on where the blockage is, it will actually be in one of these layers that are beaming out from our body. And it's through the chakras that we can actually get that psychosomatic information. We can get the information of the organ health and so forth. So as we go a little bit more into the subject, then I'll be talking about different things that relate to that. Now, what I think is beautiful is the fact that we now have technology, AKI, the Biopulsar, that is that scientific proof. Previous to the Biopulsar, of course, there are these, very what I call Mickey Mouse aura systems that are out there that have these meters, but they don't give you any factual evidence. This is what is phenomenal about the Biopulsar and everything that I do. I have all this information, all this scientific research to back up what I'm saying. It's not just reading something in the book and believing what you've read, but I actually have a lot of practical experience in the subject. And because of the development of the Biopulsar, we have a method to do empirical research on the chakras, because until then it was very limited. How many people do you know that are intuitives that write down, chakra percentages. Well, all they tend to say is that chakra is open, or that chakra is blocked, or that chakra is weak. Now we have that empirical data, and so we can actually validate it. But not only that, we can validate what is the cause of that blockage, of that weakness. And it's through this tangible, information that we can associate a lot of our data to have it be now evidence-based. This is what I love about the Biopulsar. We are now proving the energy of the chakra and its connection to different things, our moods, our thoughts, our physicality, as well as our spirituality. So with technology, aka the Biopulsar, we can clearly see the connection of the body, organs, and glands to the overall percentage measuring on the Biopulsar's chakra flow. And on the next page, I have an example of that, because when we look at the aura picture on the Biopulsar system, you can see association to the chakras in a percentage format. Now, because of the fact, we've attempted to link the chakras with the anatomical locations in the physical body, again, we now have that valid proof with the Biopulsar. And we can merge all these different ancient sciences and philosophies, because the Biopulsar is able to link the 7 main chakra centers with the different organs, the system networks, the endocrine glands, and the color frequencies. So it's literally all encompassing. And this is what we have to look at when we're looking at the holistic whole of a person, not just one aspect of our physicality or our energy network, but it's all encompassing. And the Biopulsar bridges everything. Now, based on a scale of 1 to 100, or rather 0 to 100, that number value tells us the health of the chakra. And again, this is just validating what on an intuitive level you may recognize of a chakra being opened or closed, or weak or heightened, too strong, hyperactive, hypoactive. We can refer all this terminology to our chakra flow. So based on a scale of 0 to 100, a positive energy flow, we actually look at between 50 and 70. Now 50, if you think about the number 50, it's right in the middle of 100, okay? And so therefore we use 50 as what we call the norm. So everything around that 50 range is indicating the normal range, the normal health of that chakra. But when we look at the numerical value of 65%, that actually indicates to us that we have a reserve. And I always think about it this way. If you're using one of your chakra centers, because let's just say the root chakra, you're going out and you're going running. Well, if you only have the norm or an average level of energy, if you run a little bit too far, you're going to deplete your energy quite quickly. Where if you have a reserve, then you'll be able to run a little bit more and not be depleted of energy. You'll have an abundance of energy to handle that exertion. And it's the same thing with any one of our power stations. If we use one more than another, so for example, to prepare for this, to teach this class, I need a lot of yellow energy. And before I started the class, I actually went on the Biopulsar, and lo and behold, guess what chakra center was my strongest one? My solar plexus, because I need that knowledge base to prepare for my classes, and I need that knowledge to help me with teaching. So therefore, I'm using more of my yellow energy, so my yellow energy went to a strong level. It was, I think, something like 62, 63, which is that optimal level. And your chakras will fluctuate based on what you're doing at that moment in time, okay? And so whatever you're doing, you're actually working with your energy flow. And similar to the functions of our body, our chakras work automatically. And so therefore, if we use one chakra, it's just automatically going to be stronger in vibration because we're using that energy. But where we get into problems, where we get into depletion, is when we don't understand our chakra, we don't prepare that chakra, we don't build up that chakra, that when we actually use it in an abundance, it goes from a normal range and it plateaus. Or if we're on the low side of normal of that chakra for our own energy, if we use that chakra, it'll go down very fast. and then we end in a depleted state. And what can influence our chakra is many factors, but not understanding your chakra system is problematic. It's problematic because if you don't know what you're doing and how to support yourself, you could end up in a crisis situation. And this is how a lot of people operate. They wake up in the morning, they get out of bed, they do their shower, they might have breakfast, and they're off to work or doing whatever it is that they need to do, and they don't prepare their day. And so then if they do something in excess, all of a sudden they become tired. All of a sudden they become, maybe mentally fatigued, emotionally fatigued, because whatever energy center you're relying on at that moment in time, if you do not support that energy through either consciousness or energy tools that can help that energy center be strong, then you can deplete that energy quite readily. So having number values attached to our chakras is very important to understand where we're at any given time. And this is what has fascinated me for 20 years, because using scientific equipment, I have that validation to, prove certain things to help us understand, or help me understand more about my energy, which of course makes me, an awesome teacher because I have all this built up knowledge. And different things in my life have actually created, different fluctuations in my chakras. Now, what I can assure you of is you are who you are, so you do have patterns to your chakras. You have certain chakras that are innate. Those are your gifts. Those are your talents. So you don't want to negate, feeding yourself energy to support, where you have a lot of emphasis or a lot of natural abilities. With myself, because my solar plexus is one of my natural gifts, I have to make sure I'm feeding my body that yellow energy, so this way I don't get brain fatigued. I don't lose, sight of my self-confidence, because I need that to teach. There's certain things that we have to do to prepare for our successes. And by simply analyzing our chakras, then it makes it an easy way for us to understand where our power is and where our power isn't. And where your power tends not to be strong is what you haven't been taught. Okay? Your parents, your family, your siblings, your teachers, and those teachers could be, your priests or your ministers. They could be, your school teachers, your meditation teachers. All these people influence you, and so therefore, whatever you're taught by your inner circle, or whoever is in your life teaching you life learning lessons, that's what molds you. And a lot of our information is done when we're at a young age, that we're most moldable. And so therefore, if we had somebody in our family that was I want to say a little goofy, but maybe was verbally abusive, then what you may have learned was the negative side of the blue energy, because the blue is about communication. It's about what you're hearing and listening to some degree. And so therefore, you may shut down your voice because of the fact you don't want to abuse others with the voice, because you understood the voice was abusive. So you got to remember, our programs are unique to us because no two family situations are alike, no two cultures are alike, no two religions are alike. There's so many variables, our diet, our sleep habits, what we eat, that all influence our chakra flow, which is another point, because if you didn't have good nutrition growing up, then that might have an effect on your chakras. If you weren't sporty, that will have an effect on your chakras. If you did not exercise your chakras in the school system through artwork and physical activity and math and English and all these subjects that actually, in a way, stimulate and support and teach our chakra centers these different topics that relate to them, then again, you can understand why a chakra may become weak. You simply weren't taught. So when you get to that age of, of wanting to learn more about yourself and, advancing yourself spiritually, then you have to learn about these things. You have to dig deep and find out why you have these blockages. what is it connected to, and also reprogramming. I had a beautiful conversation with a woman earlier today, and she's a distributor of our product overseas. And we were talking about the Carmelites, and she said, Suzanne, I see the Carmelite essences that you sell is so key before people even work on their chakras to do house cleaning on different levels, because we have transition, transmute, comfort, as well as transition, transmute, renewal, and transform. So all these different Carmelite essences are to help facilitate the release of negative programs. And I actually wrote a whole bunch of material just on that alone, because if you have some ideology that is negative, you need to have the tools that will help facilitate that shift. And there's a lot of things we can do. There's a lot of different types of practitioners, many of you Biopulsar owners, many of you color enthusiasts, many of you into the chakras, into the aura energy, into holistic health. These are things that are valuable for you to understand, because again, it becomes very important when you're doing an analysis of a client's wellness. So back to the subject material here. So when we're looking at the frequency, we wanted to see it within that normal to optimal range. But when a chakra is being overused, it will go into hyperactivity, and then we'll see the number value between 80 and 100. And when we actually work on a very high spiritual level, the chakras will go higher and higher and higher, because obviously when we go to that, feeling of enlightenment, then actually all our chakras will be vibrating in the high 90s. It's not something you see often, but we can see it. And this is what happens if we astral project, or meditate deeply, or even with deep prayer. You would be amazed when you just pray, not just for a minute or two, but you pray consistently, how much it influences your aura. And we're going to be talking about at things that shift our chakras and our auric energy. Any percentage below 50 indicates weakness, and one of my Biopulsar owners wanted clarification on that. Well, because of the fact that the average energy frequency for people have gone down over the past 20 years, according to all my studies, we have to understand that before I would say between 50 and 60 is the normal range. Now I'm saying between 40 and 60. The new norm is between 40 and 50 because of our diet, because we're not taking care of ourselves, because of everything that's happening on this planet. Our frequencies in certain chakras are starting to fall, and this is why chakra therapy is so important. We have to have people understand that there's so much we can do to keep our chakra system strong, which then feeds our aura, which then also has an effect on our physical body, our emotions, our mind. It's all encompassing, so we have to understand the language of colors, the language of the aura, the language of the chakras, to understand our physical and mental, emotional wellness. So learning the color language will give you insight into the attributes of the chakras and how they're being used, abused, as well as underappreciated. Okay, the next slide. Now I just want to give you some information as to how I see it on the Biopulsar technology, because obviously this is very important to understand the analysis. So when we're looking at the chakra flow, seeing those percentages and how they work together gives us a lot of information. And the chakra program goes into some Ayurvedic information that you can pull from in the realm of educating clients. But for me, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at those percentage values. And the chakra reading is in real time, which is 500 nanometers. So the Biopulsar, we can actually also slow it down so we can see the refinement of the measuring. But I usually activate the Biopulsar in real time. And it is dynamic. You can see the spinning chakras flowing on the system, because literally the chakras never stop. As long as we're alive, our chakras are spinning. So, when people come to me and they go, well, maybe my chakras are, dead. And I'm there. No, there's no chakra that's dead. However, we can see that, chakras will be weak. Okay. And the Biopulsar program allows you to put in your own repertoire. And so as a practitioner, I have a lot of information that I utilize. Now, what I did was I created a color energy CD, and when you invest in the Biopulsar, that's one of the CDs that you receive. So this way you have a lot of information at your fingertips. And I'm going to be talking about that. I didn't make it as one of the slides, but I'm going to be talking about some of the reports that I utilize with the Biopulsar that's part of, the Biopulsar package. Okay, so we can input our own text data, which is literally what I'm teaching you here today. And as I mentioned, there is information that relates to Ayurvedic information. And we can print out the chakra picture, we can print out the chakra report, and we can record it for further study. So a lot of times when I record my client session, I'm recording their chakra flow, their auric energy, their biofeedback graphs, literally everything. Once you have a recording can be displayed in different screen presentations. And so by saving all my clients' recordings, that also gives me a lot of data to derive from, because if somebody says to me, Suzanne, I have this problem, and I can see that, there was a certain chakra that was affected and it related to, a certain color and a certain organ, I can go back into my other readings and deduce if, somebody else had a similar problem and what is the congruency in the two scans. And I have a lot of accumulated data. I have I think 30 or 40 pictures of, people who suffer from migraines and headaches. I have another group study in regards to chronic fatigue and seasonal affective disorder. I have another study on CBD. So I'm accumulating a lot of data from the thousands of readings that I've done, to correlate that research for, more information coming down the road. Okay, next page here. So there are different reports that can be generated, an Ayurvedic report that we see on the left-hand side and the color energy report that we see on the right-hand side. And with the color energy report, I go into a lot of chakra data. I talk about, things that connect to it, such as life learning lessons, because every chakra is connected to a life learning lesson. So for example, the root chakra is all about your existence on this planet. Out of all the chakras, the root chakra is the one that connects us to reality. So when people's root chakra is weak, it's indicating that they're not fully connected to reality. The lower the chakra percentage, the less they're connected. When I see people's chakras, the root chakra, for example, under 10%, these are people that are so disconnected to reality. And my conversations with them, they're really wondering, why am I on this planet? Why am I here? Why do I exist? Because they don't have that existent connection. Where when your root chakra is strong and healthy and connected, you'll be passionate about life. And we're going to talk a little bit about, some of the things that I see in the different chakras. But you do get this, several page report that you can pull information from and engage in a conversation with your client. Okay, next page. So the language and the color connection is, part and parcel with the 7 chakra centers. And we only talk about the 7 main chakras. And I don't deviate from this much, because there are other chakras that we refer to or can be referred to, and a lot of minor chakras. But most people don't even understand the 7 main ones. So why would I talk about all these other chakras? It just doesn't make sense. I know about the gold and the silver and the, the pink, the magenta, the turquoise rays, but I still want people to understand the 7 main chakras, because this has a lot to do with our earth reality. When we talk about silver, that's feminine energy. When we talk about gold, that's masculine energy. All colors and all, all these different depths of energy have a lot to do with our energy. However, let's just get the 7 main ones right, okay? Do you really want to learn about other things that really aren't going to help you at this moment in time? Because if your root chakra sucks, then guess what? You're not even surviving on this planet. You're not even functioning as well as you can. And I love when people say, oh no, Suzanne, I'm connected to my root chakra. And I'm go, okay, if you're connected to your root chakra, why is this, and this happening in your life? Okay? Because guess what? If you are physically sick, your root chakra sucks. Okay? There's something going on in your root chakra. How much clearer can I be? You know, people come to me and they say, Suzanne, I have this problem with my shoulder. I have this problem with this. Well, guess what? It will begin in the root chakra because your root chakra is connected to the closest layer of your auric field. The layer that's right next to you, that is your physical red root chakra connection. So when you have a physical illness, that means that something has penetrated through your whole, all your different several layers of protection, and now has hit you physically. So now what you've got to do is you've got to work with your red energy and push the energy through the holes back into the ether to repair them. And this is what most people don't understand. They don't get that. So I tell people, listen, I make it really simple. You have any physical issue, that means your body cannot automatically repair. That automatic body repair system is your root chakra connection. And what repairs that root chakra is red energy vibration, okay? And this is what we're looking at on this page. You can see in the corner, I've got the electromagnetic spectrum where you can see the frequencies from red to violet. And the red frequency is the slowest and the densest. That is our physical body connection. By the time we get to violet, that violet frequency is so fast, that is more of that cosmic energy. And this is why when we talk about the chakras, the crown chakra is the one that's the least connected to our physical body. It has everything to do with the top of the head and the brain and our connection to spirit, more so than our root chakra is denser, it's heavier, and it is our physical vitality connection. Okay, and I didn't talk about the 7 chakras, which I should have right from the get-go, but sometimes I just jump into things and voila, here we are now talking about the chakras. So we have 7 chakras. Each one is connected by name to a color. So we have the red root chakra, the orange sacral center, we have the yellow solar plexus, the green heart chakra, the blue throat chakra, and then we have the indigo brow chakra and the crown chakra. And there's different names. Now, I want to just quickly talk about a chart, which is our color chakra chart. And this is everything you need to know about the chakras, their association to color, and all kinds of things that can help with healing. This is a chart we sell, and it is my go-to because it's not like I have everything memorized, although, you know, technically I do know a lot about colors and chakras, but nonetheless, I still like to refer to this because there's a lot of fun facts on this chart, like, you know, you have the archetypes, the archangels, the animal connection, you know, the cabal, the musical note, the tone, the seed sound, all kinds of information is on here that teaches you more about the chakra system. It's all encompassing. And I'll just quickly tell you, it was 10 years in the works. I went through all these books and typed in all the information and correlated the data from hundreds and hundreds of books, and I give to you the best of the best. So this chart is awesome. So if you want to learn more about color, that's a great, or pardon me, if you want to learn more about colors and chakras. And when I use the word color and chakra, I use it interchangeably because to me, everything in my world is color, okay? What strengthens a chakra is the color vibration. Everything in the universe is color-coded. Every piece of food you eat, every herb you take, every, you know, flower you smell, it's a vibration. We emanate vibrations and we receive vibrations. And if you've heard me in my other videos, I talk about biophotons. Biophotons exist within our cells, and they register color frequency as well as they emit color frequency. So when a chakra is out of balance, how do we get it back into balance? It's simple. Through color, guys, through color. Now, you probably already thought that, but for those of you who didn't think about it, I want you to always think about color. What supports a chakra is its color frequency. Okay, so color has a certain wavelength which influences our physicality, and we can use it for balancing disharmonies within our body. And if we think about every organ as like an instrument in an orchestra, if one instrument is out of tune, it will affect the whole musical piece. So therefore, we always have to work at bringing in vibrations in that color form to self-heal any chakras that are out of balance. However, I was talking to somebody earlier today, and they were mentioning to me about this machine that's radionics, and what that does is it shoots, frequency into your body. Well, that's fine and dandy, but if you understand anything about vibration, vibration will, bounce in the body. Where when we work with light, light knows boundaries of space and time, and light penetrates mass, where sound bounces off of mass. So if we're working on that vibration level, we have to be very careful of things. And again, this class is a little bit too short to go too much into this, but my point is whenever I have tested people after they've gotten any kind of energy treatment, absolutely I see the change. However, I can also share with you 24, 48 hours later, the problem came back. The disharmony came back. Because again, if we think of an instrument, if we haven't tuned the instrument, then that even though the rest of the orchestra might be, playing the music, if that one instrument is not refined enough, then that instrument will continue to be out of tune, even though we may play louder to, to sort of not hear that one instrument is out of tune. And it's the same thing with radionics. It can actually help adjust a organ or a chakra temporarily. But if we still have the same pattern, if we still have the same habit, if we haven't broken that karmic pattern, then guess what? That organ or that chakra will just bounce back to that negative or lower frequency, because there was no attitude change. There was no pattern change. That hasn't been broken. And this is why we have to work with energy tools, because they continue to help raise that vibration. Now, unless you have that radionic equipment and you know specifically what frequency you need to tonate that organ, then again, it's kind of a little hit and miss. Where when we work with the color frequencies, one of the things about color frequency, when it enters our body, it will travel via our energy matrix, and it will go to the chakras. It will go to the organs that need that specific vibration, and it will raise that vibration temporarily. But if we keep using these tools and with consciousness, be prepared to reverse the damage or strengthen the imbalance, then we can bring that organ back to harmony, which then in turn will help increase that chakra flow. Or similarly, if we boost that chakra with one vibration, it will then react to the different organs that are out of sync. So as much as we can do on a vibratory level, we have to do that. It's our destiny. To me, what our karma is learning what is dysfunctional within our own body, mind, and spirit, and then through consciousness changing that. That's, to me, the beauty of it. And because I have the Biopulsar technology, I could see where my karmic challenges were. And at the beginning, it's things that you typically don't embrace. So for example, with myself, it was my throat chakra. And, I've shared before where I never thought I'd be teaching classes, never mind, talking to groups or doing what I'm doing today, because I had such a fear of public speaking because of an abusive teacher that literally put me in front of a class and told me to recite something I didn't know. And when I did, I, one, became the laughing stock of the room, but at the same time, the teacher just kept screaming at me that it made me so scared I actually peed my pants. Well, at age 6, that's pretty traumatic. And so therefore, I shut down with my ability to communicate, and I remained silent for many years. And it was when I got into my spiritual journey, I wanted to understand, my energetic weakness and how I can strengthen it. And it was the Biopulsar that every single day showed me my throat chakra was weak, and it specifically zoned in the organ that was influencing that chakra as a totality to the point where that chakra was in the low 20s. So to me, it doesn't matter what chakra is weak. We have to then figure out what got us there. And with me, I understand my story better than anyone else, so I was able to decipher a lot of this information. But also through my life, I started to see that there was other issues that had to do with, vocalizing and communicating, and, other things that related to my throat chakra that helped, reinforce my program to be at a lower frequency. But then I started lathering myself with blue tools to help me access this information that was on that blue level, that was all this hidden data. So when you start working with the colored frequency, that relates to these blockages, all of a sudden you'll have epiphanies and awakenings and program shifts and changes that will allow you to tap into your full potential. And our full potential is all our chakra potential. It's not just one chakra. It's not just being brilliant in one chakra. It's being brilliant in all of them. That when all chakras are aligned, then all colors are working in unison, and like the sunlight, when all colors are equal, it creates white light. And that's when we can reach that state of fulfillment, that state of enlightenment. Because enlightenment is, in part, that light energy in equality, in balance, in check. All our chakras have to be communicating. But to understand why a chakra is weak, we have to understand, physically what is problematic that's lending to that weak chakra, because every chakra is connected to 4 quadrants. I always break it down into the 4 quadrants: the physical connection, the emotional connection, the mental connection, and the spiritual connection. And this is what I love about how we teach at Color Energy. We teach about these 4 quadrants. We're truly teaching you the holistic component of the chakras, the holistic component of the aura, the holistic component of the organs, the holistic aspect of our body, mind, and spirit connection. That is the key. We have to dig deep into all these areas to understand why a chakra is weak. Now, for those of you who are Biopulsar owners, you understand this because this is what you're dealing every day with the Biopulsar. But for those of you who have never had a checkup on the Biopulsar, let me know. I'll try to find you a Biopulsar owner in your area. It's really important that you get your chakras checked from a scientific piece of equipment that marries the physicality with the mind, the body, the spirit. This is really important. Okay. So everything that is alive resonates more frequencies, and we can see auras around living things. And that aura literally is the heartbeat, the emanation, of that plant or that, that living organism. Now, with human beings, we have all these different parts that resonate different, that can resonate different frequencies, because the totality of us is what makes us unique. And so, what constitutes our aura or our own signature color map is literally the frequencies of our mind. And we have different areas in our brain that we're tapping into, to understand. And every area of the brain also connects to a different chakra. So there's a lot that goes behind, the totality of a chakra. So this pulse vibrates, and this is the life force. So when the life force of a chakra is weak, then again, we have to correct that weakness, and so we can live that harmonious life. And just like a lot of times in technology, we see the brain frequencies similar to what you're seeing there, the wavelength of the colors. Our brain frequencies have color wavelengths. So when we have a specific thought, it is a specific color thought, is the way I like to describe it, And so when I look at somebody's aura, I can see specifically a lot about their personality just based on the colors of their brain waves, because the colors of your brainwave tell me your mood, it tells me your thoughts, it tells me your spiritual consciousness, it tells me your health as well. So we see all this in the colors of the aura. And every chakra works synergistically together, in harmony together. And if one chakra is weak, that means another one's going to be super strong. Because within our aura, within our energy field, we are 100%. But how we manage our energy is up to us, And this is why some chakras get heightened and others don't have as much energy because, and let's just take an example. If somebody had, as I mentioned earlier, maybe verbal abuse or maybe actually even physical abuse, then their root chakra might be half of where it should be because they don't understand their root chakra. They only understand that it could be abusive. So maybe they sort of shy away. But at the time that the abuse happened, they could have gone into their indigo energy, their brow chakra, which is the energy of unreality. So you get people that jump from physical reality to unreality. And I remember doing a reading with one of my clients, and she was actually stabbed 57 times and left for dead. And when this happened to her, she left her body and doesn't recall a lot of what happened during that traumatic state. And we were doing some biofeedback, and I could see that her energy was disappearing. I actually understood that she was being pushed out of her body. That was the sensation I got. And I said to her, it almost looks like you were pushed out of your body. And she said, Susanne, I'm going to tell you my story. And she shared with me what had happened to her. And again, what happened was all her chakras were going to 100 and her energy was disappearing. It was phenomenal to see that. And so again, our chakras are very reactive to our different situations. So if one becomes weak, another one can become heightened. And everybody also has their own norm. So some people's norms will all be in the 70 range and another person's norm will all be in the 40. It depends on your resonating overall frequency. Okay, and we can use the power of color to help a chakra rebound back to its healthy state. That's how easy it is. Okay, next sheet. Okay, so we kind of covered this, but I want to use this as an example for your learning because, again, we build pictures when we see the chakra flow. When I'm looking at one chakra is heightened, and in this case we can see that the heart chakra, is at 95%, where the root chakra is at 22%. This is telling us a story. So something happened in the root chakra. At the formative age, typically a lot of our root chakra energy is developed between the ages of 0 and 2. And so therefore, with a low root chakra, that's indicating to me that something in the probably early childhood wasn't strong in the formative age. Maybe the foundation wasn't strong. And if this person was naturally, sensitive and, maybe seeking love because maybe they weren't getting that nurturing environment that they should have at a young age. So maybe their heart chakra exploded with energy because they were always feeling what was going on in their environment. And so as a chakra therapist or a counselor, I'm engaging with the client to find out what could have happened in their early childhood and why their heart chakra is so strong. And when you see the heart chakra so strong, then you know that this is somebody who's taking things personally. And it could be somebody who is a big giver, but maybe not on the receiving end. And so therefore they're always giving, and the energy is building because it's not reciprocated, meaning, when you're always giving to someone, you need to have incoming energy. Receiving has to be completed with giving. So if somebody's giving outward all the time and they're not receiving, then again that can cause an energy blockage or energy congestion. And again, everybody's unique. Some people, their heart chakra could have gone down, and for some people it could have gone up. In this case, the heart chakra is over amplified and the root is undernourished. So in this case, I would be suggesting to this person build up their root and take back, some of their energy and not wear their heart on their sleeve. And so how do we do that? Well, by having them work on their root chakra and the red energy, they're going to build up their confidence and they're going to start setting boundaries where they're not giving their energy out to people constantly. And the root chakra also is the energy center that will help feed that energy to nurture on that physicality level. A lot of people who are givers end up being sick because they're always giving, and family and friends are such a priority with them, and so they give and give and give and give, and next thing you know, on a physical level, they collapse. Okay, so I engage in the client to find out why their heart chakra is strong and why their root chakra is weak. And when we look at the number value difference, we're looking at 95 to 22, so that's a 73-point spread difference. That's huge. I want to see the chakras flowing within a 20-point spread. I want to see that communication, ideally, even within a 5 or 10-point spread. However, the reality is I don't always see that with people. Okay, the chakra flow. So we're coming up to 15 minutes left, so I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here. So when a chakra is weak, we have to understand some of the organ connection and how it connects on that emotional, mental, and spiritual level. So I just wanted to give you an example here, that when we understand if the root chakra is weak, some of the attributes that that person will be weak in could be, their empowerment aspect, which is their inner power, their confidence level, their motivation, their drive, their endurance. When people suck in the root chakra, they usually don't have a lot of endurance. And statistically, 60% of people try to do something once and then quit. So if that's the case, they've done something once and then quit, where's the endurance? Where's the drive? Where's the motivation to get to that next level? Because if 60% of people try something once, but yet you have to do something 5 or 6 times to actually break through or get good at it, well, you can see after trying once, it's not going to work. And this is why a lot of people, don't last in a diet or don't last in achieving their goals, because they don't have that strong enough motivation and drive to get to where they want to go. When your root chakra is strong, heck, you'll try hundreds of times. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many times you get shot down. You've got enough energy to actually, fight the good fight to get to where you want to go. You'll win, right? But when your root chakra sucks, you're not going to get there. And, in a way, I always think about how many times people have said no to me. If I listened to everybody that said I couldn't do something, man, I would have never been where I am today. And so you've got to be strong in your red. And, I'm an Aries, which is red energy. I'm born, on in the month that is that red vibration. My name has a lot of the characters of the red energy, combined my birth year, my birthday, my birth month, all equate to the number 1, which is the red energy. I've got a lot of red dynamics. This is why I'm very successful in what I do, because I've got that motivation, that drive. But if you don't have enough red, you might be ungrounded, your physical vitality sucks, your power and your strength are minimal. You might get the odd thing done, but when your root chakra is strong, then, obviously you'll have more power. And I gave a little example on the next page, and I'd like to open this up to a little bit of dialogue here. Sometimes I talk too much, and I'd like to engage some of you who have joined us here today. But on the next page, it's all about weakness versus excess. And I started by giving the attribute of, a positive trait of red. So for example, inner power and strength, that's all about a positive red. But when somebody lacks in their root chakra and that root chakra is underactive, then they will feel disempowered. They will even feel enslaved. I've heard so many people saying, I have to do what, my family requires of me. And so therefore they're enslaved in their situation and maybe not developing their own spirituality or their own growth potential, because they're allowing other people to tell them what they need to do. Okay? And so therefore, again, that inner power, it becomes disempowered. Where if it's excess or if it's overactive, then it could be somebody who's overly powering, very overbearing, dominating, where they're going to dictate to you what it is that they want. And unless you have strong red, you'll never be able to fight back. You'll never be motivated enough, to endure, that fight, that challenge. So now let's take the word confidence, guys. Okay, so when people are lacking confidence, okay, or actually I just gave you the answer there. When people are low in confidence, or the lack of red energy in confidence, what are some other words that would resonate with you that would dictate that lack of confidence or that low red energy? Any thoughts? Okay, so I'll make it really easy for you. I often just stick the word lack in front of it, because if somebody is low in the red energy, they're going to lack confidence, they're going to lack motivation, they're going to lack endurance, they're going to lack physical vitality, they're going to lack being strong, they're going to lack being grounded. Think of underactive as being the lack of it. And, you know, again, when we're lacking in an energy, that dictates that chakra is going to be weak. And so similarly, if we think about an energy weakness, we can always use that understanding of it, you know, to again indicate that attribute. So again, confidence, a weak confidence, lacking confidence, that is that low red energy. Okay? Similarly, when we look at the excess or the overactivity, what can we make of that when we think of confidence? Anybody? So when sorry?
Bravery?
Yes. Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. Anyone else?
Courage.
Yes. Beautiful words. Thanks, guys. And that's exactly what we're talking about. You know, when people have excess, they may have an abundance of courage, an abundance of bravery, but on the negative side, they could be too much of a risk taker, right? They may have no fear when it comes to certain things, that they may jump into situations without thinking about it and get themselves into a pickle, okay? So when people sometimes have uber confidence, they could be too rash, okay? So on a positive level, you know, that confidence would be, you know, courageous and brave, but when we go into the excess, we have to go to that excess attributes of that confidence. So similarly with motivation, right? When somebody has weak motivation, what other attributes could we use to describe that? I've actually said some of the words already. You know, when people lack, you know, motivation, they have no drive, no endurance. And, you know, I've used some of these words as well, because a lot of this is interchangeable. As you start to learn the color language and the language of the chakras, this is how you have to think. When somebody's chakra is weak, they could be weak in confidence, weak in endurance, weak in physical vitality, you know. Similarly, if it's an excess, then it's an abuse of that energy. So, you know, somebody who is so motivated, they stop at nothing to get what they want, they could hurt people. That's not good either. You know, so that would be the abuse of that red energy. And this is why a lot of times people are weak in an energy, because they had somebody who was abusive of that energy, that they now shy away from it. Here's an example. If somebody ever experienced physical abuse in their life, then they've experienced the negative side of the red, so therefore they don't work with their red, because to them red can be abusive. But the bottom line is, we all have a free choice and free will of how we use our energy. So, you know, with myself, for example, whenever I see any signs of abuse in any situation, I will jump in. I mean, I think I can't remember if I told this story in one of my other videos, but this guy was threatening this woman, and I actually jumped out of a car that was slowing down to a stop sign, and I jumped out and I jumped in between the two of them, and I was defending her, because again, when your red is strong, you don't have that fear, you know, but when your red is weak, then this is when, you know, abuse can create such a fear in you that you become scared of your own power. And, you know, we don't want that of anyone. We all need to connect to all our positive attributes.
Can I just share something, Susan?
Absolutely, Pauline, please.
Yeah, so I learnt about red as a child. that the negative side of red were bullies.
Yeah.
And it taught me to just either go one way. So when I was young, I backed off, but when I got older, and if I saw anyone, which I saw a couple of years ago, a person hurting a dog, I just jumped out of my car, and he was a lot taller and towered over me. And even though I was scared, I stuck up for the dog.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
But because my red wasn't strong, I went home and then fell apart and felt very sick.
Yeah.
So that's a really good example of not keeping your red strong, because if I kept it strong, I wouldn't have got sick afterwards.
Absolutely. And we all have access to red, even if it's weak. We can pull from it. You know, there's a lot of research that says people are only using 7% of their power and potential. So even let's just say, we've ran several miles. However, something happened and we have to keep running. We will find the strength to do it because somehow, we find that extra few percents to take us to that next level. So, red will kick in all kinds of conditions. I've read, in magazines where, a child, was run over and a car was stuck on their foot or something and the mother lifted up the car. Well, this is what we're talking about. When our red needs to kick in, we have the amount of physical strength we need in any situation. I mean, how many of you, and even myself the other day because of my move, I needed to move something and Nikolai wasn't around, so what did I do? I moved it myself, and it was something that was very heavy, but guess what? I moved it because I knew I could, and I talked to my red. Okay, red energy, we got to do this. We gotta move that piece of furniture. Nobody's around us, and we want to get it done. We're not gonna wait. And so we find that strength somehow to do these things. It could be carrying groceries to our car, whatever it is. We find. And in fact, yesterday I went to the grocery store and I bought 4 bags of groceries, and I had to walk home because the grocery store wasn't that far away, but there I am with all these grocery bags weighing down, and it was so funny because I must have looked like I was exhausted by the time I got home. That this young guy held open the door for me going, "Come on, old lady, get through the door with your bags," but it was I mean, I always find strength whenever I need it, but that's the whole thing about the red. So Pauline, it was great that you shared that story, because this is what I'm talking about. We all have the power and potential to use our chakras, but when they're weak, just what happened to you, you fell apart after because you used so much red to protect that dog that you were depleted afterwards.
Roxanne, this is Roxanne. I've got a question.
Sure.
I understand everything that you've said so far, but I get confused when I'm looking at the aura colors, and then I see red on the spine on both sides, or
Yeah.
I see red running through their over the top of their shoulders.
Yeah. So when you go into aura diagnosing or aura reading, there's different ways to read color. You read color physically, you read color emotionally, you read color mentally, and you read color spiritually. So when you're reading red in the spine, that is indicating that that person is weak in the spine and that there could be inflammation, dirty blood. There's all kinds of health issues that revolve around that. But if you looked at the root chakra, you would have seen the root chakra would have been weak. So that's indicating that they don't understand their red energy, and they don't know how to get enough red energy to feed their spine, to feed their life force. So it's a catch-22. So we look at the aura colors differently based on how we see it physically versus the chakras. We're reading the chakra flow, and the red energy feeds the root chakra. But if somebody has inflammation, I might not necessarily recommend red at that moment in time, but I'll recommend red tools in a certain form to help them get educated on their red energy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And then I've got this chart. I did find this that you had held up earlier. The columns with the girl with the chakras. How do you recommend actually using this? Is it for my own use?
Oh no,
Okay.
you want to sell these to your customers. I think everybody in the world should have this chart because Again, once you understand energy medicine and you know your root chakra is weak, then you go, oh, these are all the foods. This is the exercise. This is the music note. This is this. This is that. Oh, it's connected to these emotional issues. Oh, I have this issue, you know. So you use that column for whatever chakra is weakest to help you restore functionality to that chakra.
Okay.
Everybody should have one of these. You know, the
Yeah,
reason,
I love it. Thank you.
yeah,
And then my other question is, I've done a number of sessions. I have not sold any products yet. I've got a very nice display, and
yeah.
I'm certainly new in the game. But what suggestions and who out there is selling the most products that I could get assistance from?
Yeah. So I already gave you the name of someone to contact. I don't know if you
Yeah.
reached out to her,
I've
but
got to call her. Yeah.
yeah. And one of the things I share to everybody is it's about education and it's about teaching people how to use tools. And you know, I have this reflex zone chart, and that's, you know, one of the I think it's in your binder, but nonetheless, I'll send it out to everybody so you have this information. But this is a great chart because I tell everyone, if you want to make a change, because the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. It ain't gonna happen. I tell people, listen, this is where you need to work. And so, for example, you need that root chakra energy blend because your root chakra was 20% less than the norm. Okay? I'll tell people that outright. Your root chakra is 20% less than the norm. So whatever you're doing is not working. Okay? I have these tools because these tools work for me. So just like on that chart, the root chakra is all in this zone area here. It's a little bit hard to see. But nonetheless, the root chakra is in this part of the palm, right in this location here. So I use my tester and I get them to hold out their hand and I apply 2 to 3 drops. I just did 4, so, you know, a few drops anyways. Then they rub their hand together and I tell them, what I want you to do is I want you to rub in this area with your thumb and I want you to stimulate this area. And at the same time, I want you to recite information that's going to help you heal whatever it is that you're working on. So let's just say somebody's having poor health issues. So then I want them to rev up their root chakra and I want them to massage in that area and say, I am strong, I am healthy, I am strong, I am healthy, okay? My life force is vital. I can do anything I set my mind to, right? So we want to create affirmations where people are reciting a program that will change their current belief, because I listen to how people talk, and I still think about one client came to me and she brought me literally a binder of all her diagnoses over the past, you know, life cycle of at the time. And I said to her, I don't want to see anything. And she was pushing the binder at me saying, Suzanne, this is everything everybody said about my, you know, my situation. And I went, no, you don't understand. I don't work that way. I don't want to focus on all your health issues. I want to focus on reversing your health issues. I want you to be well. We need to focus on the positivity. Often I hear people say, I have cancer, I have, you know, this, I have that. And I go, great, congratulations. Okay? Because obviously this is how they're introducing themselves. Hi, I have this problem. So I'm trying to get people to change that. The chakra system is indicating our energy management, and we need to give people the tools to do it. And I tell people, okay, this bottle is, you know, $15, and I highly recommend you invest in it because every day I want you to do this treatment 2 to 3 times. Ideally, you want to sell your customer the whole set of 7 or 9, okay? Because they should have a bottle of every color frequency ready to go to help them face the day, okay? And then another thing, as a Biopulsar owner, you guys have gotten is all my chakra sheets. And on there, I even give you an affirmation. So you don't even have to make one up with the client. I give it to you. So this way they can repeat that affirmation. And on this homework sheet lists all the foods and everything else, some of the information that's on this chart, but you know, it goes into some other things that aren't on the chart. But nonetheless, I call it a homework sheet, and I tell people I want you to do everything that's on the homework sheet. So if they're low in the root, they get the red homework sheet. If they're low on the throat, they get the blue homework sheet. And on there, it's loaded with all kinds of information, including the things I sell. And I will check off the things I have available. And I tell people, if you like essential oils, I sell the best ones. Our oils are the only oils in the world that truly work synergistically. And I say that because a lot of people cross-contaminate the vibrations that go in there. I see like a sandalwood oil in a crown chakra blend. Well, I'm sorry. The sandalwood oil is of the red vibration. It is not a violet vibration. It's not a brow vibration. And unless you understand the vibrations of the oils, you're cross-contaminating the oils. If you mix, red with violet, you're gonna not get. That was a bad example. Let's say an orange oil with the lavender violet frequency, you're gonna get a murky color. It's the same thing with vibrations. When you mix vibrations, the medicinal qualities are going to be there, but the vibratory qualities aren't. Does that make sense?
Well, hearing that now, and if they should have a bottle of every color of the oils, when do they use them? How are they going to know when to put those 2 or 3 drops on 2 or 3 times a day and they have every color?
Well, when they come to you and after they've had their chakras examined, then they're going to know, Roxanne, which is their weakest root chakra, or which is their weakest chakra.
Right.
Then the other colors, you can sell them the color energy booklet so they learn a little bit about colors, because you got to remember, in a half hour or hour and a half session, you're not going to be able to educate people on the whole concept of vibrational healing. So they have to then take tools or take your classes, or tell them to watch my videos. They're going to learn a ton, right? But whatever it is, it's a learning process. And this is why, I teach chakra classes and, classes on how to interpret your own aura and different things like that, because I want people to actualize, what's going on within their own body. Now, I know on any day when I wake up, oh, geez, I have some accounting or book work to do. Well, the blue vibration is best for that. So then I'll use my blue energy blend. Another day where maybe I'm going to be doing readings all day. Well, I want to tap into my psychic energy, because I love when I can bring in my intuition into a reading, because I get a lot more, psychosomatic information. So, here's something, golfing. I always use my indigo tools before I go golfing, because if I am wearing my yellow hat when I golf, I will get so pissed off. I will focus so much on my lineup and everything. Versus when I'm in my indigo and I golf, I have my best games, my absolute best games.
Okay, now when I'm doing my hypnotherapy, should I be using which color before a session?
It depends on what you feel is the best energy that's going to assist you.
It has to be rounded and etheric.
Yeah, well, you already have the etheric energy, so I'm sensing that you would need more grounding, because again, if you're having problems initiating sales, you have to be confident in what you're selling. So that has to do with the red energy, right? And not that you don't want to be aggressive. It's just like, to me, I'm very passionate about the products I use. And so when people feel that passion, they want that in a bottle, right? People want my level of intelligence. They want my passion. They want my drive and determination. So it's all in a bottle. This is what I use for my power. I use these tools, okay? Because I know I need to prepare in my day. And in fact, the next slide, I'm just going to show you something. And this is me. And I love this. Now, this is me early on with the Biopulsar. And I actually hooked up the Biopulsar today. I was going to do a live before and after, but we ran into a little bit of a situation, so I vetoed it, and I included this as a slide. This is me before and after a green color bath. So as you can see, here's all my yellow energy, especially in my brain. My brain frequencies are often in yellow, because I'm always, in that analytical side of myself. But after a green color bath, look at how much my aura shifted to green. But not only that, green is more neutral. It is a higher frequency than yellow, right? And so if you look at my chakras before and then after, every single one of them went up, other than my heart. And here I was bathing in a green bath, but I'll share something with you. To give myself love is one of the hardest challenges for me. I have to really create that atmosphere. I try to hug myself. I work with the green energy, but when I even first started with color energy, I had no green in my wardrobe. On Inger's color energy personality test, my heart chakra was my lowest energy. I didn't understand my heart chakra, so here I was nurturing myself in a green color bath, and I remember lying in the green bath and I was hugging myself, and I felt so lovey-dovey, and I lived alone, and I just felt really romantic and just so full of love energy. And then when I put my hand on the Biopulsar and I saw all this green, it was so beautiful to see how lying in that green color bath created that ambiance and that mood, and emotionally and mentally and spiritually and physically it shows. Other than my heart chakra went a little down because I was trying to do that green bath to love myself, and I had a little bit of, I don't want to say a negative reaction, but often when people don't love themselves, and we do this in live biofeedback where I'll have somebody imagining that love energy coming into their heart or a specific organ, and I actually see that chakra or that organ go down in value. And that right away alerts me to the fact that that person has a hard time feeding themselves energy, whether it's love or another thought pattern. That to me is very powerful to show people before and after things. So you can use the live biofeedback of the Biopulsar and instantly see the chakras shift. And you can keep somebody's hand on the system and ask them questions and see the energetic response before they open their mouth. It really is a body, mind, and spirit lie detector in every sense of the word. You will see their aura colors change. You will see their chakras change. You will see their organ health change. You will see their brain frequencies change, all based on the conversation. Okay, so
Sorry, Susan.
no, go ahead.
There's just something I wanted to share. So, for Roxanne, the other thing you could do is if you did a half-hour consultation, that in charging your fee, you include an oil to work on the chakra that needs that balancing, and then over time build up on that chakra doing your baths or other things you need to do, including the crystalline energy as well. That's something to think about, and it brings people
Beautiful.
back as well.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah. That's an awesome idea. I remember also one of my teachers, she said, Suzanne, I'm struggling with product sales. And what she did is exactly what Pauline did, where in all her classes, the product package was part of the price. And so before she was charging like $25 for her class, and then she put together a $25 package, and she struggled to sell the packages at the end. Then she started charging $50 for the course, and it included the product package. And people paid it no problem.
Yeah, great idea. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Pauline.
Because
I
that's
know.
right. People like the tools. We all need tools. It's very easy, especially if you're not grounded and you're not in your red. It's very easy to just I'll get to it. You just don't get to it.
Yeah.
And you need that grounding. So that's where the oils really help you with that.
Yeah. And everybody loves aromatherapy. I mean, I love aromatherapy anyways. But I think most people do love essential oils. And because color energy oils are such a high therapeutic grade, people don't have reactions because that can happen. Like I can't go near certain stores that work with what I call commercial grade essential oils because they're not high quality. And people don't understand these things like ylang ylang. A lot of times the grade of ylang ylang that's being sold, the petals have been squished and squished and squished and squished, that the actual, the best essence of the ylang ylang is no longer there. And so people are getting this low, what we call commercial grade product, and it's cheap like borscht, but it's not going to serve them well because it doesn't have the healing potential that therapeutic oils have. And again, because all our chakra blends synergistically have the same frequencies. And I had somebody say to me the other day, Suzanne, your oils vibrate at such a high level. I've never ever seen oils at that level before. And she came into our building and she said, I know why, because when I come here, the energy dynamics of color energy is different than other businesses that you would walk into. And it's because we have all these gemstones. And I'm always, sometimes on the weekend I come in and I do clearing. My coworkers have no idea what I do here when they're not here. I'm always clearing energy because I want this to be a place of happiness and joy. And sometimes people have issues, and it is what it is, but we have all these wonderful tools at our disposal to try to shift our energy from any lower vibration to a higher vibration, and that's what we have to do. And the chakra blends to me are beautiful because they're already cut in jojoba, so they make it safe for body application, meaning you can put this anywhere on your body. Of course avoid your eye area, but nonetheless it is at a safe level for application, and you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. So we want to work with oils and essences, and I always talk about some of my favorite tools, like the aura cleanser. I sell a lot of that because I tell everyone, energetically clear your field, get rid of anything that's stagnating. And I had one woman who sees energy, and she told me, Susanne, when I teach my clients to use the aura cleanser, and she actually gets her clients spraying each chakra, okay? She said, because I can see the aura cleanser molecules going into the chakra because it's vibration. She can see the vibrations going into the chakra and cleaning each chakra. Magnificent, eh? Plus it gets rid of all this junk that could be congesting your auric field. And remember, your chakras are transformers. They're spinning. And I always make the association in class. It's almost like your toilet bowl, right? Whenever you do your business, you flush it, and it's the spinning that pulls it in. Imagine all this crap that's out there. And if your chakra's spinning at its incorrect frequency, it's pulling in all this junk, okay? And that's not feeding your chakra energetically. This is why we have to always clear our aura. This is why we have to use the energy tools, so our spinning chakras are going to spin brightly and bring in the right frequencies. The frequencies that can feed it energetically to be at an optimal level. But we have to work both physically and energetically. And most people only work physically on the healing. They take vitamins, they take nutrients, they take supplements. But we have to work energetically. And this is why, Color Energy has a line of alchemy tools. They work on the vibratory level that work from the auric field into the physical, and then we have the physical tools that work physically into the energy field. Okay? So here we are. We're at the end, a little bit over again, but nonetheless, we're done. So I'm going to open it up for a few questions, and then we'll be off and running for the day.
Lots to think about and digest here.
Always, and trust me, I can teach a chakra class over 10 days. I mean, there's so much to learn, and for those of you who have taken my classes over and over and over again, there's always newness to my classes. So I don't mind, teaching over and over and over again, because I know that, I might say it differently, or you'll learn something new. Now, another thing I wanted to just mention at the end here is we do have a color energy correspondence course, and this is one of my favorite. It's something I did myself. I went through a whole series of doing different things to clean up my chakras and to understand my energy centers. So we have this foundational course, and one of my students, a psychologist, actually took the course and said, Susanne, this is not basic, this is advanced work. And he had taken other color chakra classes, and he felt that this color energy basic program was quite advanced, but it's to help you understand your chakras, to understand your color intelligence centers, so you can go to that next level of understanding. So
How do we access that class?
So what
that
I'll
course?
yeah, well, it's a $300 program. When you sign up, you get the manual by email instantly, and then plus we also send you a little product package, because to us it's also important that you're working with different tools to help you raise your vibration, because when you start playing with different tools and you're documenting the things that are happening. I love, especially people always start with the red energy, and because 80% of people are low in the root chakra, and this is a statistical fact, 80% of people, that means 80 out of 100 people, their root chakra is not vibrating at a strong enough level, for many reasons. And so therefore, when people work through the red chapter, I love hearing stories where people go, oh my goodness, this happened in my life. And I had a mother and daughter that took the class together, and they started arguing because their confidence levels were so high. They started arguing because they became a little bit more assured of what they knew. And I love that, because that is that confident energy. Of course, I don't want people arguing after they work on their red, but nonetheless, they pushed it, and they pushed it to the point that they started arguing. Love that.
How long is the course? Is it 5 weeks or 1 week? Or?
Well, it's a 2-month program. You have to work through each color 1 week at a time, but there is a rule, and that rule is if that all of a sudden you have to take a break in between as you're working through that week, and let's just say on day 3 you have to take a day or 2 break, guess what? You don't just jump in, you have to start from day 1 again. That is the rule. You have to work 1 week on an energy consecutively. You cannot take a break. If you need to, for whatever reason, you have to start at the beginning, but only at the beginning of that color. And I also tell everyone, if, say, for example, you're working on your red energy and you're having breakthroughs and epiphanies and, a deeper and greater understanding of your root chakra and your red force, don't move on. Hang out there. Get to know your energy. I actually worked on my throat for 7 months. I worked on my solar plexus for 2 years. Now, I did work with other energies in between there, but I was so determined to make friends with my yellow, because there was a lot of negativity in my yellow. And so I really needed to work with that and make friends with my yellow. So this course is a course of growth. Now, of course,
is
you
it
can.
over the Zoom?
No,
Is
no.
it over Zoom?
No, it's all home study. You get your assignments, and at the end, you just email all your assignments in to get your certificate. And this is one course, Ruth, I would make you hang on to all your assignments till the end.
Susanne, did you say that you got some tools included with the course? Like,
Yeah, so we provide you with the chart, the introductory booklet, the little color card as well, because it's nice to have that card, in your pocket or your purse, so that way in emergencies you got a quick little reference. Plus, you get some sampler vials, and you get a few more little red tools, so, during your red week. But we also encourage you that you actually invest in more tools, so that way you've got your own set of tools for your own growth and, needs, right? And so therefore, as a student, you get a discount, but you're already set up as a wholesaler, Nancy, and so that way you could just buy product at wholesale.
okay, and so each week I would want to purchase the oil for that week then to try it.
Yeah, I usually tell people get the bottle of color bath, get the essence, and get the oil. Those 3 products, because remember how I said I always want you to work energetically at the same time you're working physically. So when you're working energetically, you're working with the essence. When you're working physically, you're working with the oil and the color bath, because in order to manifest change, there has to be a lot of consciousness. And so when you're, I'll say, trapped in that color bath for a half hour, you're literally, I want you to engage with that chakra. So when I do a red bath, I'm communicating to my root chakra. I'm saying, okay, root chakra, I need your vitality and strength. I need your motivation. And this is where you'll take your chart into your bathroom with you. And you start thinking about all these things that have to do with that energy that you're bathing in. And then I talk to every organ and gland that relates to that chakra too, because I know all this. This is just part of my innate knowledge. I tell everyone the color language is my first language now. I'm so immersed in it. And so when I'm in that red bath, I'm talking to my anus, my rectum, my bladder, my legs, my blood, my spine. I'm talking to all my organs, organ by organ, and I'm connecting to them. This is what I do in that bath water. As I'm lying in the pool of that frequency, that is power. Okay?
Well, my first red bath, I was thinking about my white towels, my white bathtub.
You get the picture.
But you told me, Roxanne, you were pleasantly, you were very delighted that afterwards there was really nothing.
No trace.
There you go. Yeah. Now, on the other hand, I had an acupuncturist that got out of the bath water and she had red marks on her body after the red bath, but she said, Suzanne, it was in all the areas where I had pain. And I thought that was fascinating. The stories I've heard, you know, in regards to the different, you know, the different rituals people have used our color bath product in, you know, sometimes I've even actually, and again, I can't recommend it as a manufacturer's rep, but I'm just going to tell you, I've actually painted my body in color bath. In the bathtub, standing up, I've painted it, and I've actually done my affirmation with the red paint on my body, or whatever color I chose to use, and then I showered it off. But I had to take the shower head close to my body because otherwise it'd be spraying, and I think I plugged the drain and then I enjoyed the color bath after. So, but
what is in that bath? What are the ingredients that makes it so special?
well, it's all organic, which is very hard to do because most organics will stain the skin. This is non-staining, and it's made of 4 organic elements that create the color pigment. So it's a proprietary recipe, but nonetheless, it is 100% non-staining.
Can't give us any hints, huh?
Well, you know, again, I don't even know. Honestly, it's irrelevant to me. I could tell you it's made of hydrogen, oxygen, carbon, and nitrogen, but everything in the universe is made of those elements, so. But what people don't realize, hydrogen is, you know, if we look at water is H2O, which means 2 hydrogen atoms to 1 oxygen atom. And this is why our product is water-based. It's not a powder. And a lot of, you know, organic colorants are powder. You know, so again, it's some sort of magical process, and we've had people try to replicate it, and they can't. You know, it was made in a lab in Norway, and it's a trade secret. Okay, so we're going to end it here today. We're at an hour and a half, like I always try to keep them an hour, and nonetheless, it's always good that I was able to share so much with you. Remember to, as I always say, I'm just going to get my paper here so I don't miss out anything. So if you're new to Color Energy, visit our YouTube channel, and there's a little bell. Click the bell and you'll be automatically registered for updates. And for those of you who have joined me more than once, please check off that little bell, because I don't want any more emails saying, when are you going to post the video? You'll get the little bell signing off telling you when it's posted. Otherwise, keep visiting our YouTube channel, and you know, like and share. I really appreciate if you can share my videos with other people. We need to get the momentum going. The whole reason why I'm making these videos is I want to colorize the world one person at a time, and I can only do it with your help, guys. So please like and share. I appreciate all your support. And if I can help you find a Biopulsar owner in your area, please let me know. You know, send me an email to info@colorenergy.com or color@colorenergy.com, and I'll answer your email, let you know who in your area has the Biopulsar so you can get a scan. And anything else that you want to inquire about, just send me an email or give me a shout at 1-800-225-1226, extension 51. Until next time, guys, I've got a whole bunch of videos. I've already been planning the itinerary. In the next week, you'll get that information. I'll try to send a follow-up email in the next week as well. Don't bug me, though, because, again, I'm so behind on emails. Leave me alone for a while. And I'll get everything out that I promised. I just need some more time. My new apartment is in disarray, so I'm not working at night, which sometimes I'm inspired to work at night, other than last night because I was preparing for today. But I'm really focusing on unpacking, so I'm dedicating to getting my household in order. Give me that, and then we'll be back on track with a whole bunch of new classes. I'm not going to go into what they are, so stay tuned, guys, and be bright, shine your light, and be colorful.